My Little Pony is filmed in front of a live studio audience.
Are the flowers in place? By which I mean completely out of view. I'm pretty sure dragons don't like flowers. And what about the ceremonial dragonfire flame of friendship? Is it still flaming?
The wind and haze, I'm bound for better days. It's my life, my dream, and nothing's gonna stop me now.
Oh boy, I wonder what wacky hijinks Spike will get up to next. Now, seriously, the sitcom format has been dead for so long, the many, many, many parodies of it have gotten stale after decades. But on the other hand, My Little Pony has a special talent for making even the most trite, worn-out stuff fun and charming again. So why doesn't that happen here?
You know, I'm gonna blame Spiky Wikey on this one.
Well, that's not entirely fair. Triple Threat not working is a team effort. But sure, let's start by looking at the little purple quarterback. Spike is the driving force, or more specifically, his irrational fear that Ember and Thorax will hate each other is.
Honestly, I think him lying to save face after making a scheduling error would have been a more plausible motive.
That would have made more sense, especially if Twilight was in the dark on it as well. You know how much he respects her. Speaking of, Twilight and Starlight are weirdly willing to go along with Spike's crazy plan. One of whom is a seasoned diplomat used to negotiations, and the other has proven herself to be scarily good at emotionally manipulating those around her. I don't think a full-scale armed conflict is in the cards, my man. Now let's move on to the guest stars. I don't really have any complaints about Thorax as a character, but I do have some issues with him as a changeling.
Other than the lame new look?
So apparently changelings eat food. Now, I was thinking that as long as they had friends, they kind of didn't need to eat. Also, he calls his fellow changelings his pack. Are they wolves now, or do they not want to say swarm for some reason? Also, was Thorax always this dumb? Anyway, nitpicks aside, Thorax is fairly good throughout. But then there's Ember. I still believe she has potential, but it's even more obscured now than in her first appearance. Partially because all of the yelling. I get she's the Dragon Lord, but really. Mostly she doesn't really feel like the same character who was in Gauntlet of Fire. This Ember seems to solve all of her problems through brute force, whereas the old version really couldn't do that. I mean, she could barely overpower Garble, so she had to rely on her intelligence and teamwork to get things done. Also, she didn't actually win the Gauntlet of Fire, remember? She also comes off like a pretty big jerk. Mostly because of that one joke about not being able to tell Twilight and Starlight apart.
Hey, she's just saying what we're all thinking.
Yeah, you got me there, and if it would have been just one throwaway joke, it would have been the moment of the episode. But they keep it going, and it makes Ember look bad. Now I want to look at the best moment in the episode. When Ember and Thorax sit down and talk about their problems, it's a really good scene. You get how these two really can learn from each other and help one another. Because they're in the same situation, both have been put in a leadership position and they're struggling under the weight of their responsibilities. Now onto the humor. In Triple Threat, the MVP is Ember for more than just that one joke about Starlight and Twilight. The times they play off her not getting how to make friends for laughs, it works really well, especially with Derpy. Thorax has his moments, and I liked seeing Twilight and Starlight struggling to maintain the facade of normalcy for their guests. Okay, now it's time to break down the good and the bad in My Little Pony, Triple Threat. On the good side, the episode has a nice sense of humor, and one really good moment with Thorax and Ember. On the downside, both guest stars are written with very little subtlety, and the plot is pretty darn cliched even by MLP standards, so I give My Little Pony, Triple Threat a 2 out of 5. Now, if you're interested in more reviews of anime, movies, TV shows, comic books, or video games, check out my channel right here on YouTube, or find my Facebook and Deviantart pages for video updates and more. Thank you for watching.
Hey kids, today's show is brought to you by the letter 4 and the number potato! I'm a stupid private.